Tune in tomorrow for an all-new live episode of the summer sensation American Idol at 9/8 Central. Now, Fox Sports presents the Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
What is it about summer nights that brings us back to our childhood? Every kid dreams of just one moment in the sun where baseball immortality can be reached with just a ball, a bat, and some leather. And sometimes with a little bit of magic, a boy's dream becomes a man's reality. The greatness of the game of baseball is made from its marvelous moments that transcend time. Some of these images are so strong, they will live on forever.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for.
Baseball can extend beyond its white lines, and barriers can be broken.
I knew that this was bigger than any one individual, and I would have to do whatever I possibly could to control myself.
A ball dropping from the sky ever so softly into a glove can mean so much to so many.
There's a long drive,
Heroes will rise to reach the unreachable. But as new kings are crowned,
there's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
Others must fall. A player can will his way into history.
If it stays there, it's gone. Home run! The Red Sox win!
The game's great achievements are measured by a man's mettle and desire for destiny.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! I don't believe what I just saw.
These moments consistently capture the attention of our American nation.
Touch first, Mark. You are the new single-season home run king.
Baseball is us. It's part of America's heart and soul. Its greatness is made up of solitary snapshots projected together into our country's conscience. On this summer night, we celebrate our nation's pastime right here in America's heartland, where the images of the present will soon unfold before our eyes.
And welcome to Milwaukee, home of the 73rd All-Star Game. This is the third time Milwaukee has hosted baseball's Midsummer Classic. The last time was in 1975 at County Stadium, but it's a new century, and Milwaukee has a new stadium, Miller Park. The players are here, the fans are here, and we are glad you are here with us tonight. Hi, everyone. I'm Jeannie Zelasco, joined, as always, by Kevin Kennedy. And Kevin, a different look to this All-Star Game with nearly half of the players here for the very first time.
Absolutely. 28 new stars. It tells you how good Major League Baseball is with this young talent. I'm particularly excited for the fans to see the best defensive center fielder in the American League in the Minnesota Twins. That's Corey Hunter. On the National League side, I'm excited for Eric Gagne, the best and most dominant closer in baseball today for the LA Dodgers, and that's the first time he's done it, Jeannie.
Yeah, of course, Eric Gagne excited to be here. This time last year, he was at AAA Las Vegas just watching this game. Unfortunately, hanging over this game is the prospect of the labor impasse between the owners and players during the second half of the season. Yesterday in Chicago, the player reps met with their union leaders for an update on the situation. And while the players' union did not set a strike date, that does not mean one won't be set in the near future. Many players, like the Red Sox' Nomar Garciaparra, are tired of all the off-the-field talk about steroids and labor.
Nobody wants to stop. Everybody thinks, you know, why are you doing this? Why? People forget we're baseball players. We're fans. We want to play. I mean, that's what we do. That's what you know, thank the good man upstairs put me on to do something I love. Thank you. That's what I want to do. I don't want to not do it, not play and stop. And, you know, I remember being hurt last year. I hated that, you know, let alone something else to tell me I can't play again. So, no, we all want to play. We're not thinking about it. That's first from mind. We just want to iron this thing out so we can continue going on.
Now, Kevin, you've been on both sides as a player and a manager,
Right.
so what is your take on this?
Well, my take, Jeannie, the world has drastically changed since 1994 and last September the 11th. There's so much mistrust going on in the world and in Major League Baseball. It's time for the owners and the players to get together, get this thing done by the end of July. Don't alienate the fans. That's why we're all here. It's a fans' game, and don't take them for granted.
And I'm with Kurt Schilling, who wants to put this away for one night. He says the only strike he wants to talk about are the strikes he hopes to throw out there on the field. Enough of that. We're here to celebrate baseball. And that vein, coming up, the 30 greatest moments in baseball history. Quickly, your favorite moment?
Kirk Gibson, 1988. He helped get me a ring with the Dodgers.
Ring. Up next, Joe Buck and Tim McCarver with the 30 greatest moments in Major League Baseball history.
An American story is a restless one, but there is a place where the shape of things has never changed. A jewel in our sporting landscape where nothing truly dies. A place of everlasting moments we still see, we still feel. And whether these feats occurred on the pitching mound, or base paths, or the farthest reaches of center field, they all have a place here for all time.
Ladies and gentlemen, an outstanding actor who starred in Goodfellas, Hannibal, and Field of Dreams, the upcoming film Narc. Please welcome Ray Liotta.
Tonight, we celebrate this diamond of memories, this game so intertwined with our heritage and our dreams. Tonight, we celebrate that great catch, that unbelievable home run, that perfect game. Tonight, we celebrate the 30 most memorable moments in Major League Baseball history.
MasterCard presents Major League Baseball Memorable Moments.
Many of baseball's early dramas were dictated by pitchers, like 3 shutouts by Christy Mathewson in the 1905 World Series, and screwballer Carl Hubble striking out 5 straight future Hall of Famers in 1 All-Star game, and a record back-to-back no-hitters tossed by the Reds' Johnny Vandermeer. But no story was as big as this.
Red Sox so root the Yankees, Sox dump the Babe, read all about it.
The season after leaving Boston, Babe Ruth would hit 54 homers for his new team, the New York Yankees.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin. England declares war on Germany.
1939. As a fragile peace falls apart in Europe, the pride of the Yankees dynasty has become prematurely frail. But his power and poise are present, and the words echo still.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Summer of 41. Jolton Joe's astounding hitting streak reaches 56. And Ted Williams, the last to finish the season batting over 400.
Ted finishes the doubleheader 6 for 8, batting .406. Not too bad a day.
He is 28 years old, the chosen one. On April 15th, 1947, on a gray Brooklyn afternoon, Jackie Robinson crosses the foul line at first, onto the green diamond, wearing the uniform of the National League Dodgers. And as he crosses that line and takes the field, he changes profoundly, not just a sport, but a nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, the grandson of the late Jackie Robinson, Jesse Sims.
4 years later, Robinson and his Dodgers are on the wrong side of a miracle. It's October 3rd, 1951. It's 1954. We're rocking to a whole new sound. World Series, Game 1. 8th inning, Indians and Giants tied at 2.
There's a long drive, way back in center field, way back, it is. Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Say Hey Kid, Willie Mays!
As a young president was setting a bold agenda, a Yankee was reaching to do the Babe one better. There was agony and an asterisk for Roger Maris. But in the end, a moment of ecstasy.
The windup. Fastball hit deep to right. This could be it. Way back there. Holy cow. It's one small step for man.
As our universe got smaller, the diamond was expanding. In 1971, Satchel Paige became the first player elected as a Negro Leaguer into the Hall of Fame. And 1 year later, Puerto Rican legend Roberto Clemente, one of the leaders of the Latin Revolution, would reach the magic mark of 3,000 hits on what would be his final at-bat. You could say the ball started its historic flight right here in Milwaukee in 1954. It would continue for the next 20 years, landing 1,000 miles away in Fulton County on a sultry Georgia night, April 8th, 1974.
Fastball is a high fly in the deep left center field. Butler goes back to the fence. It is gone. What a marvelous moment for baseball. What a marvelous moment for Atlanta and the state of Georgia. What a marvelous moment for the country and the world. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol.
The career that began in Milwaukee took Hank Aaron to the White House today, where he received the nation's highest civilian award, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, just off the plane from Washington, D.C., Milwaukee Brave and Milwaukee Brewer, all-time home run king, Hank Aaron.
records will continue to fall. Rose outhits Cobb.
That's number 4,192. He's going.
Henderson outsteals Brock.
He's got it.
Arlington, Texas, May 1st, 1991. Nolan Ryan is one strike away from no-hitter number 7.
The entire stadium standing in anticipation of the final strike or the final out. Ryan has done it again.
Baltimore, September 6th, 1995. Cal Ripken Jr. had come to work 2,131 times without a day off. And after passing Gehrick's astounding mark for durability, Ripken's ovation roared for 22 minutes and 15 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, future Hall of Famer, Cal Ripken Jr.
After more than a century of seasons, baseball would have a season of the century. Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire chasing the romantic mark of Maris in the summer of 1998. On September 8th, McGwire got there first. Number 62, and as fate would have it, Sosa was there to applaud. In 2001, a rookie phenom from a distant shore arrived like a tsunami and led Seattle to a season not seen in a century. Also in 2001, we'd witnessed the greatest slugging display in Major League Baseball history.
Swings it near this to right center field, way back to the flag post. He did it! Bonds did it!
Now at 594 home runs and counting, he has 3 baseball immortals left in front of him. Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, and next within his sights, his very own godfather, Willie Mays. Ladies and gentlemen, the single season home run king, Barry Bonds.
Finally, again and again, so many of our seasons have been defined by October. the month when Don Larson reached World Series perfection.
Here comes the pitch. Strike three. A no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larson. Yogi Berra runs out there. He leaps on Larson.
And Jack Morris shut down the Braves for 10 innings in Game 7.
Atlanta hasn't scored in 10 innings against Jack Morris.
We know that October can also be the cruelest month.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
And we know, if you want immortality on this diamond, you knock it out of the park in October, when it counts the most. As Bill Mazeroski did with that cataclysmic walk-off homer to win the 1960 World Series. And Carlton Fisk with his Game 6 dance of joy. 3 consecutive home runs in 1977 made him Mr. October for the ages. Then in 1988, a hobbling Kirk Gibson defied all reason.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone.
And in 1993, Toronto's Joe Carter would reward Canada with back-to-back World Series titles.
Ladies and gentlemen, 5 October legends. Bill Mazeroski, Carlton Fisk, Reggie Jackson, Kirk Gibson, and Joe Carter.
We have a very tragic alert for you right now. An incredible plane crash into the World Trade Center here at the
And then, last season, in the aftermath of that inexplicable September morning, baseball was what we needed it to be, a refuge. And the Fall Classic was just that, and how marvelously it ended. Bases loaded, the Yankees with their supreme close around the mound, the D-backs with their best hitter at the plate.
Center field. The Diamondbacks are champions.
At its best, the game is a return to innocence, allowing us to see, if only for a moment, the world as a child does. A world where the improbable is always possible. Baseball truly belongs to this nation of dreamers, a nation that still awaits wonders around every corner and with every pitch.
And welcome back to the 73rd All-Star Game here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck, along with Tim McCarver. I guess it's old by now to say there's no crying in baseball, but for some reason over the past 3.5 weeks, I find myself doing a lot of crying. And they got me again here tonight with those 30 memorable moments. There are few institutions that can evoke that kind of emotion in this country like baseball can. What grabbed you from what we just witnessed?
Well, there were many individual moments. Roger Maris hitting 61 home runs in 61. Mark McGwire with 70 home runs in 98. Barry Bonds last year. But for me, overall, the 1947 season of Jackie Robinson, which opened up things in a game of numbers, it gave future players a chance to chase the incomparable human spirit.
And then a guy like Henry Aaron to come along, do what he did, become the all-time home run king, and the ovation he got here tonight was truly memorable. So was a night 3 years ago in Boston, Fenway Park, when Ted Williams was introduced maybe to a whole new set of young fans and certainly to a new generation of players who met him on the field that night at Fenway Park.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest hitter that ever lived, #9 Hall of Famer, baseball legend, Ted Williams.
You had to feel the energy that was in the park that night. You had to feel what I think the guys who were on the field felt was, this was a moment that probably will never happen again. And Ted being the centerpiece of that.
You feel that everybody was around him. The tear came out. Something that I'm never going to forget.
And that was a great moment. I think that was just a really pure moment, especially in baseball. I mean, it was great. First of all, I mean, all the great players that were assembled before he came out and everybody out there, from past and the present. And then when he actually did come out and everybody just gathered around.
This was history. This was, for me, it's like the most electric moment I've ever been a part of.
As soon as you meet him, the first thing he wants to do is talk about hitting. He's like, yeah, you're doing this and this, and you have to listen. He's the best.
He was the man. Hitting forward seat. That's unbelievable. And every time you have a chance to talk to him, you can see he was a positive man all the time. He'll tell you the truth.
I feel very fortunate to have had more than one conversation with him, more than just sitting down and talking about baseball. When you sit down and you talk with him, I mean, it's like family. It's not like, one good hitter talking to another good hitter.
Everybody looked at him as the greatest hitter of all time, and I looked at him that way, but I became to know him as my friend. That's a thrill for me, just to get to know the amazing man he was. It wasn't necessarily just baseball aspect of it, just the amazing man and what he's gone through, going through the wars and who he's known and what he's been through. And to me, that's what was amazing to me.
The look on those faces of the players that gathered around him in an impromptu moment right at home plate, something that I will never forget that night in Fenway. Right now here in Milwaukee, let's join public address announcer Rob Edwards for the introduction of tonight's All-Stars.
Introducing the American League All-Stars. First, the coaches. From the Anaheim Angels, manager Mike Scioscia. From the Cleveland Indians, manager Charlie Manuel. Now the players. From the Anaheim Angels, outfielder Garrett Anderson. From the Baltimore Orioles, third baseman Tony Batista. From the Boston Red Sox, shortstop Nomar Garciaparra. Outfielder Johnny Damon. Pitcher Hugueth Urbina. From the Chicago White Sox, first baseman Paul Abengo. Pitcher, Mark Burley. From the Cleveland Indians, shortstop, Omar Vizquel. From the Detroit Tigers, outfielder, Robert Fick. From the Kansas City Royals, first baseman, Mike Sweeney. From the Minnesota Twins, pitcher, Eddie Guardado. Catcher, A.J. Pierzynski. From the New York Yankees, shortstop, Derek Jeter. Third baseman, Robin Ventura. Pitcher, Mariano Rivera. From the Oakland Athletics, shortstop, Miguel Tejada. Pitcher, Barry Zito. From the Seattle Mariners, pitcher, Kazuhiro Sasaki. Pitcher, Freddie Garcia. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, outfielder, Randy Wynn. From the Toronto Blue Jays, pitcher, Roy Halladay. Now let's meet the National League All-Stars. First, the coaches. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, manager Jim Tracy. From the Montreal Expos, manager Frank Robinson. Now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, outfielder Luis Gonzalez. Catcher, Damian Miller. Second baseman, Junior Spivey. Pitcher, Byung-Hyun Kim. From the Atlanta Braves, outfielder Andrew Jones. Pitcher, John Smoltz. Pitcher, Mike Remlinger. Pitcher, Tom Clavin. From the Cincinnati Reds, outfielder Adam Dunn. From the Florida Marlins, second baseman Luis Castillo. Third baseman Mike Lowell. From the Houston Astros, outfielder Lance Berkman. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, outfielder Sean Green. Pitcher, Eric Gagne. Pitcher, Odalis Perez. From your Milwaukee, first baseman, Richie Sexton. Shortstop, Jose Hernandez. From the Philadelphia Phillies, pitcher Vicente Padilla. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, pitcher Mike Williams. From the St. Louis Cardinals, pitcher Matt Morris. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Trevor Hoffman. From the San Francisco Giants, pitcher Rob Nen. Catcher Benito Santiago. Now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the New York Yankees, Joe Torre. Two-time MVP, Brewers legend, Hall of Famer, Robin Yount. Leading off from the Seattle Mariners, right fielder Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second from the Boston Red Sox, third baseman Shea Hillenbrand. Batting third from the Texas Rangers, shortstop Alex Rodriguez. Batting fourth from the New York Yankees, first baseman Jason Giambi. Batting fifth from the Boston Red Sox, left fielder Manny Ramirez. Batting sixth from the New York Yankees, catcher Jorge Posada.
Párate, ¿dónde tú vienes? Tienes que te parar aquí. Viola.
Batting seventh from the Minnesota Twins, center fielder Torrey Hunter. Batting eighth from the New York Yankees, second baseman Alfonso Soriano. Batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen from the Boston Red Sox, Derek Lowe. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2002 American League All-Stars. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Bob Brenly.
All right, Joe. Good luck. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
The honorary captain, 15-time All-Star, going into the Hall of Fame later this month, the Wizard of Oz, Ozzie Smith. Leading off from the Montreal Expos, second baseman Jose Vidro. Batting second from the Colorado Rockies, first baseman Todd Helton.
All right, Todd, have some fun, big boy.
Batting third from the San Francisco Giants, left fielder Barry Bonds. Batting fourth from the Chicago Cubs, right fielder Sammy Sosa. Batting fifth from the Montreal Expos, center fielder Vladimir Guerrero. Batting sixth from the New York Mets, catcher Mike Piazza. Batting seventh from the Philadelphia Phillies, third baseman Scott Rowland. Batting eighth from the Philadelphia Phillies, shortstop Jimmy Rollins. Batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Kurt Schilling. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2002 National League All-Stars. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention now to left field, where three All-Stars from the 2002 Boston Red Sox, Johnny Damon, Nomar Garciaparra, and Ugat Urbina, will help us honor a baseball immortal, a player who took this spot in the outfield for 18 All-Star games, who practiced the art of hitting as no one before him or ever since, a man who also served this country with distinction in 2 wars. Tonight, Major League Baseball announces that the All-Star Most Valuable Player Award is being named in his memory. He'll be remembered by many as the greatest hitter who ever lived, Ted Williams. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as we honor America with our national anthem. Performed tonight by multi-platinum epic recording artist Anastasia.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walls were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets gave glare flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And again, welcome back to Milwaukee for this 73rd Midsummer Classic. I'm Joe Buck along with Tim McCarver. In case you forgot, this is the All-Star game and we are ready for a baseball game. And I pity you because you're a good analyst and you got to analyze a game where it's basically one-on-one situations and the strategy is just out the window. So dazzle me, knock me out.
Well, before the game begins, I mean, the All-Star game has been played for 72 years. And the National League has only 3 more hits than the American League. A 246 average for the National League, 245 for the American League. Pitchers have dominated the All-Star game perennially. With that said, the appealing and compelling thing about the All-Star game, the one-on-one matchups, and you'll be seeing them all night tonight.
So get ready to be compelled here in the first inning as Curt Schilling takes on this American League lineup. A nice moment with Matt Morris honoring his dear departed friend Darryl Kyle. Baseball from Milwaukee when we come back. Ceremonial first pitch time here at Miller Park in Milwaukee. That was Warren Spahn. Here comes Hammer and Hank. Paul Molitor.
Time MVP, and he's in the Hall of Fame, Robin Yount.
And Robin Yount, who is on Bob Brenly's coaching staff in Arizona, as the honorary captain for the American League here tonight. And who else would you have catch, Tim McCarver, if you're in Milwaukee, than you?
32nd year broadcasting here in Milwaukee. Mr. Baseball, the funniest man I have ever met. And Uke will be visiting us in the booth in the 5th inning this evening.
So here, are they going to all fire at once, or what's going to happen?
They're all going to fire at Uker.
Well, he's got help. He's got Posada, Sexton, and Hernandez. Gentlemen, it's all you. We've had some educational moments, Tim McCarver, the last couple of All-Star games that we've done for not only for somebody like myself, who really wasn't around in what I consider the glory days of this game in the 40s, 50s, 60s in that area, but to see some of these young players get an education and see some of the old-time players, whether it's Ted Williams or Warren Spahn or Hank Aaron, you can go on down the list, and how many of today's superstars are aware of those that came before them and the path that they blazed to allow them to do what they're doing on the field, and in the end allow them to make the money that they're making.
I think more and more of the players are aware of that, and one of the players who is perhaps more aware of that than any today is starting for the National League this evening, Curt Schilling. Saw Warren Spahn out there, 373 lifetime wins, and Joe Torre, the American League manager, pardon me, his first hit as a National Leaguer was as a pinch hitter for Warren Spahn back in 1960.
And he was excited when his manager called for a pinch runner and he got to come off. He didn't think with his jelly legs he could navigate his way around the bases. There's Joe Torre. We'll talk to him during this game. Bob Brenly as well. We'll take our final break, come back and play baseball. 73rd All-Star Game from Milwaukee comes your way next on Fox. Blue skies overhead. And the National League All-Stars take the field. Curt Schilling last to leave the dugout, and he will take on this American League lineup. You know all about Curt Schilling if you watched any of the postseason last year. He can bring it. 14-game winner. He has more wins than walks this season. And let's take a look at the lineup for the American League. It's presented by Budweiser. Ichiro will lead it off. He's in right field. And Shea Hillenbrand of Boston bats second. Alex Rodriguez, the shortstop. Jason Giambi cleans up at first base. Manny Ramirez in left. Jorge Posada is the catcher with Torrey Hunter in center. Alfonso Soriano is batting eighth. And Derek Lowe pitching and batting ninth. Won't get to see him swing the bat most likely unless the American League has a bust-out inning here at the start. We'll talk more about Derek Lowe when he heads to work. Right now working is Curt Schilling.
A fascinating season already. 186 strikeouts and 13 walks. And as Joe said, 14 wins, 13 walks. His strikeouts to walks ratio is the best ever. The best ever over half a season. And that's at first point right there. His strikeouts, not strikes. He was very, very forthright in the press conference yesterday in saying we do not want to strike this year. The only strike you're going to see tomorrow night is strike one. And he has finished what he started. He is his own stopper.
Bob Brenly, manager of the world champion Arizona Diamondbacks, had to go through the arduous, grueling process of trying to put the reserves and the pitching staff together. Talked to him before the game about that. There are 5 Diamondbacks without Randy Johnson, who's sitting out this game. There are 6 Yankees. Joe Torre is well aware of the strings that are attached and the criticism that is inherent in selecting the rosters for the All-Star games. And there he is standing next to former mayor Rudolph Giuliani, and we will hear from Rudolph Giuliani a little later on in this game. Away we go. Is this broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television? First pitch is hit hard, but right at the first baseman. Help one away.
I think there are 2 things that you see in All-Star games that are common. First ball hitting and solo home runs. Rarely does base running change the course of an All-Star game.
So much so that these managers come into these games and they really don't give signs.
No.
The signs are yelling. Don't run, run.
Right.
And if you can throw them out, throw them out. A lot of teams and a lot of base stealers have been running on Mike Piazza this season. He does the catching and he receives a ball up and away from Curt Schilling. Shea Hillenbrand may be the most improved hitter and overall player in the American League, and it's a surprise, but it is justified that he is here starting as a third baseman for the AL as the count evens at a ball and a strike.
One huge hit after another. A pinch hit grand slam against Tampa Bay earlier in the year. The Boston Red Sox in the first half only 2 games behind the New York Yankees.
So with 1 out, nobody on, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Shea a little late with that swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hillenbrand will turn 27 a bit later on in this month. And his 51 RBIs, the second highest total by a Boston Red Sox third baseman in their history at the break. Second highest to Wade Boggs, who drove home 55 back in 1987. It stays 1-2. A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez waits to hit next. Hillenbrand, part of a Boston Red Sox team that hits the break 2 games out behind the New York Yankees. And Hillenbrand is up there ready to swing. It's still 1-2.
Including Pedro Martinez, as you take a look at Derek Jeter, of course. Including Pedro Martinez, the Red Sox have 7 electees to the All-Star game this year. That's the most since 1946 when they had 8, and they won the American League pennant that year.
That's foul again, and Hillenbrand is putting on quite a battle and at least making Schilling work After Kurt jumped out in front at a ball and 2 strikes. There's Derek Lowe. He'll be the starter tonight for the American League. And he's really an incredible story. Consider where he came from last year. Former closer for the Red Sox, now a starter, and here he is starting the All-Star game. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bob Brenly, we talked to him before the game and said, Bob, come on, give us a little bit of help. What's your pitching rotation going to be for this game? Who's following who? What's going to happen with your reserves and your position players as Hillenbrand strikes out? He said, I don't know. We'll just get into the game and see what happens. Now get out of my office. I can't believe I ever worked with you two. As Hillenbrand comes up empty, 2 out.
That's what Schilling says with that fastball to Hillenbrand. Get out of my office.
Curt Schilling telling Alex Rodriguez that he's going to throw him all fastballs in this at bat.
Hit me if you can.
So here we go. Said mano a mano, 1-on-1. Alex Rodriguez trying to fight back a smile. He knows what's coming. Does he trust Curt Schilling? You have to, don't you?
Yeah, I guess so. In the All-Star
mind games.
However, there's always that thought in the back of your mind.
There's one fastball. 97 miles an hour. Alex Rodriguez, who is on pace, Tim McCarver, you love it.
I do.
Well, that all-time home run mark, if he continues with this kind of prowess that he's been putting up year after year as he dumps one foul down the right field line. 2 fastballs, 2 strikes, Schilling proving that the best pitch is still that good fastball.
That is the best fastball Schilling has thrown. That had some cut action to it. You could see Piazza sitting outside, the ball cutting away, almost flared to right by Rodriguez.
He didn't say they'd be straight fastballs.
No. Say what kind of action would be on the fastballs.
Well, here you go. Schilling a rare back and let it fly.
Inside, 2-seamer.
1, 2, 3, and Curt Schilling stared down Alex Rodriguez, threw him 3 consecutive fastballs, gets 2 strikeouts in the first, and the National League's coming to bat.
Shack, official sponsor of Major League Baseball, by Warner Brothers' new motion picture Bloodwork, in theaters everywhere Friday, August 9th. By MasterCard, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by Zocor, talk to your doctor about Zocor today.
No score after a half inning. Schilling a perfect first. Once again, tonight's starting lineup for the National League, presented by Budweiser. They will lead it off with Jose Vidro. Todd Helton batting second at first base. From the Giants, Barry Bonds, number 4 on the all-time home run list. Sammy Sosa cleans up in right. Vladimir Guerrero bats 5th. Mike Piazza does the catching. Scott Rowland at third base, having a down year, but he's here nonetheless. Jimmy Rollins at shortstop, and Curt Schilling pitching and batting 9th. You look at the numbers for Derek Lowe while these fans honor Mayor Giuliani. Shake the hand of home plate umpire Jerry Davis. And Tim, everywhere he goes, he gets pats on the back for the job he did in the wake of the terrorist attacks last September the 11th.
I guess if there were a scouting report on Mayor Giuliani, he would be a representative of bravado.
And Derek Lowe, he's 12-4.
He keeps the ball in the park too.
His first pitch is on the inside corner to Vidro. Normally we get these guys here in the early innings that are on the mound like Schilling that can just blow the ball by hitters. But Lowe is a sinker ball type pitcher as Vidro hits a 2-hopper to the shortstop. A-Rod, 1 away.
And on cue, sinker ball pitchers throw more ground balls, a ground ball out. And as we said, he keeps the ball in the ballpark from stopper to starter. A guy who was 5-10 as the stopper of the Red Sox last year, the short reliever, with 6 blown saves. Remarkably, a reversal of fortune this year.
Only 24 saves total, and a guy who during a dismal stretch waited at one point after a game for 2.5 hours to let the fans leave the Fenway Park area so he could exit the stadium. And now he represents the Red Sox as the American League starting pitcher. No balls, 2 strikes on Todd Helton.
That's how bad the booing was last year when Lowe pitched at Fenway Park. There's the 6 blown saves, 10 losses, only 5 wins. He had 42 saves 2 years ago, and a member of the American League All-Star team as a stopper.
A ball and 2 strikes on Helton, one of the best pure hitters that we will see here tonight. Here's a guy who no doubt doesn't get the credit he deserves for being the kind of player and hitter that he is, and first baseman, because he plays his home games out in Denver, Colorado. The bottom line is the guy can flat out hit. And the count's still 1-2 to the former quarterback, the University of Tennessee.
Played for the Tennessee Volunteers when Peyton Manning was the quarterback there. Peyton Manning will make other quarterbacks go to baseball.
Count still 1-2 as Helton gets the bat on that pitch down and in. Well, last year we were in Seattle, this year Milwaukee, and next year Chicago. Comiskey Park, the 74th All-Star game. Still a ball and 2 strikes on Todd Helton with Barry Bonds on deck, and that's to A-Rod again. Another 2-hopper. Oh hum, a replay, 2 out.